Okay. Review of the Bloodview haunted house in Broadview, Ohio, a bit south of here. I try getting stuff working a couple of things on my phone. It just wasn't working. The camera on it's not amazing, and the way stuff was laid out, I just kind of couldn't get decent angles. And again, I don't know what people might be cool with or anything. If that was like the first time I've been there, as far as I know, like I don't think I've ever been to it before. Um, so it was kind of I mean, there were some parts that were really good. Pretty much every single actor was all something redneck. There was, I mean, everyone kind of had this going on, all of them, with the exception of maybe one or two who were acting in like super, trying to be like crazy in an asylum-y thing with Bart. And isn't that was like the only one. Now there were not everyone was doing the growly growl, screaming in your face. There was a lot of that, but some of them were not doing that. By and large, even though pretty much everybody was doing like a sort of redneck hillbilly sort of accent, most of them were pretty good natured about stuff. I mean, as much as a haunted house monster is going to be good natured. It was, they'd interact with you all right, crack jokes or, be cool with stuff and everything. It was funny though. There was one part, um, in like kind of the main house that's kind of open to the air, and it was supposed to be like this like weird messed up church, and like the guy had like weird stuff on his face and like the fake third eye thing, and there's another guy with like a weird like surgical mask, and like, are you ready to get down and bleed for him? And da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, well, like, which one do you mean? And he like kind of pointed up to the sky and everything. So, but he pointed directly at Orion. Like, bam! It was sort of like this crucifix thing with like the skeleton on it and like these green lights. It looked kind of neat. And like right above it, lined up, like it was like something Robert Bovall would point out was Orion. So he goes like that. And I'm like, you mean Osiris? He was like, what? And like both guys sort of stopped for a second. I was like, you pointed at Orion. That's Osiris. So like, I'm definitely down with Osiris. Like, sure, let's do this. And he was like, and then tried to say it was someone who before them or made the star, all this other stuff. And I think I might have freaked them out about that. There's well, this the Egyptian. I said something about like Egyptian gods and trying, but I was just like, I think I freaked them out with it, which was kind of funny. But there we go. That's me freaking the monsters out. Um, so the people, even like the people, the ticket thing were kind of cool. I was joking around with them a little bit. Things weren't really like the entrances and exits for the parking and for the actual to get into like the main part were pretty much there, but the entrances and exits for like kind of everything else was a little unclear. And I got the fast pass, and it was like you really kind of had to look for fast. Like the one was like the sign like yay big, and it was low, and because you're trying to scan relatively eye level because that's where most signs and things were going to be, and it wasn't with that. I kind of had to search, and it really wasn't kind of staffed with that. The first house, I mean, they were playing like some metal. Um, I use that loosely because it was just new metal, overproduced, growly, drop C tune garbage. Um, and some stuff on it was okay, but I mean, the first house was real short, and just a lot of this sort of growly and slaughtery kind of stuff. Some stuff that was a little gross. A couple of things like in terms of the decor was okay. The next part actually goes through the outside. It's all outside, and it goes It kind of does what I was talking about with Forest of Screams, where you go from right into the other. So as soon as you come out of the first smaller house, you go right into this outside thing, and the first part's kind of a maze sort of thing made out of wood, like lats of an old house sort of thing. A couple of people talking about, like there's like baby doll stuff on there, and like the one woman was like, oh, if they come at you, smack them, or this other thing with that, and it was like, oh, look, from like my baby days, Clayton, and then the other woman that was in there was like, I'm Clayton. I'm like, oh, this got awkward, and they made cousin jokes and stuff. So it was, I was playing around with stuff, but it was sort of like, oh, okay. Um, but some of the outside stuff was kind of neat. And that kind of wound for a while. It was okay. It was okay, pretty good. The last part was like another inside house thing, and that was the longest part of all three parts. And it started off really cool, like the whole vibe of it and the atmosphere of it and the decor started off super cool because it was just kind of like old school haunted house stuff. Like it had all like these weird like skull and skeleton things that were the walls, and like a couple coffins and some like cemetery stuff, and you walked through like a big sort of coffin-y cutout thing, which was neat. And so that, I mean, that part was kind of cool. Like I dug the atmosphere of that, but then it got into just everyone's got this act, everyone talks like this sort of thing. It's like could have done so much other stuff with that. And it was a long enough house where the sort of theme of it changed multiple times, which, if done right, is okay. But if not, it's just sort of like a stark kind of change. I do kind of like the idea of theming whole things, like if, 7 floors, each of the 7 houses is like a theme. By and large, a haunted schoolhouse and laboratory kind of has, um, it's kind of the overarching theme for each place, and then each floor. There's 7 in total there, 4 in the schoolhouse, 3 in the laboratory, and each floor kind of has a thing with it, and one of them's got like a whole dungeon basement slash vampire thing, and it works. So it's kind of thematic, and it didn't really have that. It kind of changed themes a couple of times. It went from like I said, like kind of graveyard vampire sort of thing, and then it would change into like a gross kitchen and like a weird sort of slaughter deli thing, and there was a blackout maze section, and then the crazy people with the bars, and you kind of went out and around and some other stuff, and then you eventually went back into the crazy people with the bars, and it kind of changed up like a few times, and it was a little like, oh, okay. um and there was one guy, there wasn't like the section where like the car kind of shoots out at you, but it had like that big loud old truck noise horn, and one guy was just cranking on that thing, and like a couple points it was like just cranked on, and it was like right by my head. I was like, Jesus. And the guy kind of like a couple of times, like he started like messing with me with it, and it was like I was like I had to like, all right, cool, man, that was cool. It was kind of funny. So like the interactions of the actors were pretty cool. The third section, the longer house, was the better part of it overall. The outside part was okay. The first house was kind of the outside part was okay. The bigger one was pretty good. And I think the best part was probably, even though the actors were almost every single one of them all doing some sort of rednecky hillbilly accent, their interactions were kind of fun. Like they played with it okay. And it might just be that this is really early in the season because this is Saturday, 21st of September. So happy Mabon equinox day. Maybe I should have said that first. I don't know. But so maybe since it's early, they're still like, oh, cool, like we're having fun with this. They're kind of relaxed thinking into it. It's not like, oh crap, this is, and I didn't go at like 11 or anything like that. I was there around 8:39ish after I got over a couple interesting bouts of dyslexia, uh, i.e., wrong turns because dyslexia. But I mean, it was okay. Like, I forget how much the regular ticket was. Fast pass was 30, but it was so short. It kind of, I don't know if it was super worth 30 for it. I couldn't tell, but they didn't really seem to be moving the line okay. Like, there was this kind of big line, and I wasn't sure because when you go through the first houses and then around in the other one, it looks like it's the same line for both. And I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, this is the line for the first place. And it's like I had to like really look to see. It's like, but there's a door, and okay, there's someone stationed by the door, so obviously people are going in. And then it had this roped off thing, but the sign for fast pass, but it was roped off, and I couldn't. You couldn't really tell which place the people in line were going to. It was like, um, so the logistics outside the gate, fine. Logistics inside the gate, really kind of, it was a little confusing. Um, so they could probably do a better job putting out, okay, which way you really go and kind of laying out, the structure of it a little bit more. Haunted Schoolhouse in the Laboratory, you get your tickets, you go in a thing, you go up, and then you work down. And that's just the way they do it. And Seven Floors of Hell, it's each place. I mean, it's all on the flat fairground stuff. So each place you can see, and they punch whichever one it is. Forrester Screams blatantly tell you, it's hayride, forest, house. This is it's one. When one ends, it spits you right to the entrance of the other, and out and into the right to the entrance of the other. You can boom, 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 and they tell you that. They kind of walk you through like the expectation of that. Um, and Cedar Point's just on such a huge, wide thing. It's all across the entire park. So it's just sort of like, wherever you want to go, however many times, if you're willing to stay in line for it or anything. The walkthroughs are just walkthroughs. The haunted houses, you got to wait in line. You want to still ride the rides or anything like that. It's so big and so open and so expansive. It's just sort of whatever. So they definitely could sort of organize and people move a little bit better. So, I mean, I should probably come up with a rating system. Stars aren't really going to work. I was thinking of like jack-o'-lanterns or skulls, but I think if I say give it something 3 jacks, that's just not, it just doesn't come off well. And 3 jack-o'-lantern, it just doesn't roll off. So I'm probably just going to go with skulls. So Bloodview and Broadview, south of Cleveland. I'm going to give, I don't know, probably 3 skulls. Because, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I, I enjoyed, I enjoyed it. It was just sort of, it was a little confusing to maneuver. It was very short in general. And every actor except maybe one or two was all doing hillbilly stuff. So, yeah, yeah. I'll round up. Here's this. I'll round up to 3 skulls, and maybe out of like a 5. So, worth hitting if you're just kind of like, I don't know, well, let's do this. I don't really want to be out too late or go too crazy with stuff. Maybe hit a Bloodview for it or anything else like that. Um, as of right now, I don't know if it's going to be a staple. I still keep kind of Seven Floors as a staple because it was, one of the first things like we did when I went to haunted houses with, the sort of group of people I went to haunted houses with in general. And but that still has some of the houses might be kind of lame, but there's still enough that's kind of like good and fun to still do. Schoolhouse and Factory are awesome. Cedar Point. A lot of their houses are really cool in general too. So I mean, Bloodview might be something where it's a sort of like, you know what, I kind of feel like I might at some point in time, or otherwise it's just like, not really. So that's it. Rounding up to 3 skulls for Bloodview. I will try to do better at the sort of on-site, maybe little videos. Maybe I'll do like I'll try and do like maybe something and then upload that and then do a separate, sort of couch review, sort of shin review. Luna Aria's on her spot on the chair over there. And maybe do that separately, so like double tap it or something like that. I don't know yet. It'll Part of that will be, if I'm going to something with somebody, and or like the quality that I can get on my little phone's camera there, because I don't have anything else. And I work in mental health and I'm not administration, so I'm probably not going to get anything else. And then if I did get sort of like a proper camera or something like that, people are gonna, you can't film this, you can't do that, or I have to go and try and get some weird special permission or something like that. And right now it's just sort of, me talking at you about this stuff for a while. If it turns into something else, it turns into something else. If not, it'll just be this. It's handsome face, a baby pug, and some haunted house talk. So, signing off. Like, subscribe, share, comment, fight clean. And that's about it. I'm gonna go get kisses. Oh, 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 denied. Denied. You guys kisses. All right, thanks. Bye.